should say actually 7 times. Measure 7 times, cut once.
All right. With that said, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this Reddit AMA. So thanks, everyone, for joining in. We have Alexi Lane, who's the CEO of Everex, joining us. And this time we decided to do a different format and go for a video exchange for the AMA questions. So with that said, I'm going to hand it off to you. And why don't you tell us what you guys have been up to?
Hey, thank you, John. Nice to be here. And yes, for those who are just joining us and don't know much about Everex, my name is Alexi Lane. I'm CEO and founder of the company. And we are blockchain development payment solution provider. And our goal is to effectively build the bridge that exists between cryptocurrencies and the fiat world. Because as we all know, those worlds unfortunately do not talk to each other much. And there's a cryptocurrency specialist and the traders and the professionals having problem dealing with the banks. On the other side, we have banks and the old money, so-called, and the investors who want to join the cryptocurrency world, and they may not have a necessary means to do that. So what Everex is actually doing is to building this bridge by introducing so-called the what I call now is a translation agent or intermediary service called e-fiat, which is the hybrid form of the currency, of national currencies, which has a value of the fiat national currencies, but form of the cryptocurrencies. This means that now the national currencies can be put on the blockchain, and stakeholders of the AMA project or business and individuals, SMEs, in their daily business lives and trades can conduct business over the blockchain, can send payments, can do currency exchange, can do lending, and obviously cross-border money transfers as well. So that's where Everex stands. That's our model. And by introducing the national currencies on the blockchain, we believe that it will increase the trade, increase the business speed, and basically will benefit over 2 billion people that effectively cut off the financial system today. And I'm not only talking about the individuals, mostly even the SMEs right now who don't have access to credit, banks don't lend them money, or if they do, it takes a huge process of collateralization and application form, just not worth it for them. So that's what we try to build. Now, over to you, John. What's the next question?
So let's get started with some of the AMA questions. We're going to start doing this hopefully once a month if all things
hopefully more.
Hopefully more?
Hopefully more often. We actually just secured an office. One of the first news, we secured a great office in the center of Bangkok. And once the renovation is complete, I hope we'll have more sessions, not only with me, but with all team members.
Yeah, I think that'll be great to get some of the other team members. And it's good to hear that you guys got an office. That is different.
It is a challenge to find a really good space, especially in the center of the city with the convenient logistics and commute. So, but finally we got one. I'll be happy to share some screenshots of the views.
Okay, next time I head there, I'll probably
we'll do the video tour. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So starting with the AMA questions on the Reddit, and next time for these AMAs, I hope that some of you out there can continue to ask questions, because you know, this is what it's all about. We hope to get more engagement with the community, and it helps everybody, helps the business, and helps the people who are holding the tokens. So
right on.
One of the very first question that we're gonna ask is from Jay Mickernan, 86. What's the pilot? What are the goals of this pilot? Most likely referring to the Holley Group, and if successful, is there a plan to market the results of the pilot to new potential partners?
Great question. Yes, Holley Group, as you all know, is one of our major investors. For those who don't know yet, Holley Group is the multinational company. It's a holding group for a number of large Chinese companies. Pretty much it's one of the top 100 companies in China. And by nature of their business is because they have so many subsidiaries in mainland China and outside, they're involved in the payments. So they basically processing a large amount of payments, which we will be happy to use as a test case for our technology. Because as you all know, China is a major economy in the world, and we can see Chinese businesses pretty much in every country. And that's what makes this pilot so great, because we not only can test our technology, but we also getting a footprint into the major market, such as China. So we're looking at testing it originally between China and Thailand, where we are located, because it's a lot of trade is going on. But hopefully we're going to extend it to neighboring countries. Just the last week, we completed a small roadshow from Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, and back to Thailand. I just got back 2 days ago. When we were talking, we had numerous meetings, and we talked with, I would say, half of our meetings were with Chinese businessmen about facilitating payments and currency exchange and trade. So I look super happy and positive about that. I believe that's a very good case. So it will take us some time to set up, because we still need to go through certain technological and legal procedures, but time frame, yeah, hopefully within a month we will have some traction on that.
All right, and how are the efforts to navigate the regulatory landscape coming along? And is there any estimated time to completion? Because that's been a long time.
It's been a long time. We are really in the serious quest. I would call it a quest. Because again, this is new, and regulators usually take a conservative stand on that. So we try to put it into the existing legal framework, basically saying, look, we introducing this. This is just a new technology. It's not really too much of innovation in there, just more optimized, more cost efficient, transparent technology to make payments, and it's fully compliant with existing regulations. So that's what the pilots are for. That's what the pilots are for, to prove and to show how this will work. So any regulators or banking partners can look at the data, can look how this work, how the KYC is done, how AML is done, and so forth. So we have a number of regulators very positively looking at it, but sometimes it doesn't depend on them. So even if we have someone who says, yes, that's great, guys, let's do it, there's still different instances who has to go through the approval. So we want to start testing it on a small scale to collect the data. And this will make our case more stronger when we keep talking with the regulators.
Okay, with that, I noticed that recently you guys had you guys joined the FinCEN Thailand, is that right? As part of that?
We joined the FinTech Association of Thailand. Yeah, it's been super beneficial because we're getting many contacts in there. Thailand is somewhere in the middle in terms of being super aggressive in innovation and being super conservative. They take in I'll say the moderate position. In fact, we're expecting the ICO Regulation Act coming basically in the end of this month. The draft has been approved. It's available online. And I actually believe, and I think that Thailand can make a great case of the ICO if the regulators make it right and really present friendly legislation. What will happen is we could have one of the first countries that actually would legalize the ICO and welcome all the projects here. And it will bring the talent, capital, create jobs in the country. And well, what could be better than you just can code on the beach and have your project started. So that's what we all love Thailand for. Now, so yes, Thai Fintech Association has been great connections. We're getting a lot of introductions to the pretty much everybody involved in banking and the financial sectors. And yeah, we're getting just more contacts.
So does this group have any influence or any connections directly to those regulatory, the regulatory fund?
Right. In fact, the chairman of the group is the former Minister of Finance. So yes, they do have some influence. They have a focus groups. That's why our membership there is quite valuable.
Okay, just seeing what the nature of the type of the relationship and the organization. So I guess when you're tracking back to the original question about the regulatory landscape, it sounded like there was two types of regulation. One, the second one we talked about, which is national, just Thailand. And then there's
right.
the one that's just more international that will have to be navigated.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's right. Everex, we don't deal with in only Thailand. In fact, yeah, we are global, and it's not only between two countries. So we look in our markets are Southeast Asia, and now we're looking actively into the Middle East because it's a lot of traction between those two markets. So, those two regions. So, yeah, some of the regulators are very open and very proactive in this. Some are very conservative. So that's what we have to be engaged in large talks with them and actually getting into more even educating about that, because the one cannot make a decision if it doesn't have enough information. So we trying to educate them and say, look, there's nothing wrong with the blockchain. In fact, the blockchain is good. You may not like crypto, okay, but please learn what it is, so we all can make the weighted decision on this. So yeah, it's interesting. We really meeting the people with very open minds and who wants to do something for their countries, including the central banks as well. So, because what I can summarize is that there is an interest from the number of central banks to explore blockchain for their national currencies. I cannot say names or countries, but it is a strong interest in exploring that and see what they can do about that.
All right. So we'll move on to the next question. It looks like this one comes from one of the Thai chats. It seems like Connect Africa is an abandoned website, and the latest news was in 2016. I'd like to know why you choose this company. What do they have? Do they have any outstanding transactions so Everex would partner with?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it may seem that from the outside. However, Connect Africa is the third largest payment processor in Africa. They are, I believe, behind only M-Pesa and NB-Pesa. So they have offices in 13 countries in Africa, and they also have representations in the US and in Asia. So they have a very good infrastructure to test our technology. We will start with Connect Africa. Our main interest, why we decided to do this project and do this collaboration, again, China. There's a huge business between China and Africa. There's a Chinese businessman and investments who go into China, and there is a huge demand for Chinese products coming from Africa. That's where we believe Everex technology and payment solution will be most beneficial.
Okay, all right. Sounds like we'll have to see that. Do you have any time frame for that partnership to work out?
Funny thing is that Africa side is pretty much ready. It's all now about our pilot with Holley, which is sort of dependent on, or will set up the benchmark for a lot of the pilots. So we are not running those pilots separately. It's all connected in one ecosystem. So starting with Holley project and moving to Africa, we will actually combine those two pilots together. Again, there's no one in our company that don't want this make as soon as possible. Okay, so time frame, we're pushing it as hard as we can.
You know, that's #1 question I always get in the Telegram chats.
Well, I cannot look. If it was only depend on my team or me personally, I would say tomorrow. Okay, but unfortunately, it doesn't depend only on me. There's many factors involved.
Yeah, so let's see. We'll move on to the next question because I think it's pretty clear that the strategy overall is that China is the big juggernaut right now, and they seem to be one of the big movers in adopting it for their internal businesses. That's promising. All right, so moving on to the next question by BB833 or BBB. When exactly can we use the lending feature?
Lending is, I would say, would be a next step. The first step that we need to do to launch is to provide a sufficient liquidity into e-fiat in as many currencies as possible into the system. This is now number one. So when we start businesses conducting payments, individuals sending money, let's say the migrant workers market segment sending money back home, then when it will be sufficient money mass to start lending. And in fact, it's not only us, but all our partners and any other businesses who will be using now our system, they really don't need our permission to do that. You can just start using our system to lend to each other. So I would say this is the second step. First, we need to establish the payments. Once it's done, then lending will come naturally.
All right. We'll move on to the next one. Also looks like this one is from Thailand. Is Everex going to be listed in a big exchange like Bittrex and Bitfinex? We've heard this rumor for a long time now.
Right. Well, listing on exchanges is not our main goal. See, we want to launch the business. We all believe here that once the business is operational, once we have traction, the token will pump by itself. So with all full disclosure, Everex is not involved in any operating on any trading, market making of our token or any other token for that matter. We're completely focused on building the business. So Bittrex actually came back to us 2 days ago, okay, saying, I need to remember what was in the email, but because they having own problems with the SEC and the US regulators, we sort of take it lightly at this time. EVX token listed, I believe, on top 4 out of top 10 exchanges right now. So if we have enough room to grow already with the existing exchanges. So to summarize the answer, Bitfinex, probably not. Bittrex we can, but if you noticed, Bittrex is no longer number 1. I believe they dropped down somewhere into like a bottom 10. So I mean, bottom 5 out of top 10. So I don't see that us being listed on Bittrex will really change as much. So if the business is still in this stage.
Yeah, and I just went over this question earlier in the Telegram chat. Basically, the EVX token's already on 3 of the 5 top exchanges, with the top being Binance. So
right,
the liquidity is already where it's going to be. Right now, the focus should be on the business, and you guys should be building out that pipeline and getting
correct.
The business.
That's all efforts all on there. We believe that once we are operational, it will be much easier to even talk with the other exchanges or.
Yeah, because leaving that, once the pipeline starts coming in, then it frees up some extra cycles. But right now, just to get that initial inertia going in the business side, because the exchanges, there are like total 11 or 12 exchanges now where the EVX token is on. It's
about some.
So let's go to the next question. So right now, let's just say Bittrex and Bitfinex is postponed for now.
Yes.
But not off the table. So
no, absolutely not. Again, like I said before, once we complete our first stage of launching the business and having traction, it will be much easier to talk to any new exchanges about the listing. But now we have enough room for growth. So let's just hope the cryptocurrency market will rebound as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think a lot of us in crypto are all wanting.
Yeah, we all hope. Yeah.
Man, we've been taking a beating lately over the last couple of months.
Massacre, total. Yeah.
So on to the next question with market trends. This one is pricing questions on the market. EVX is currently trading below ICO price. You understand the whole market is down, but still higher than 6 months ago when the ICO happened. Will prices go up and down? But what is a team's plan, if any, to support the price or making this token aware to more buyers and masses who can see the potential in it? We were just discussing this.
We pretty much answered this question. Yeah, like I said, again, it will be easier to market the token and do any promotion and growth, community growth once we at least open the first market. So please bear with us. We're doing everything in our power to make this happen.
All right, let's see the next question. Also from Thai chat, recently some banks in Thailand take no fee in any transaction, either online or by ATM machine. Does this affect Everex? Because I think one of the benefits was fees before. And now
right. Honestly, I'm not aware of that. I have many tourist friends who and visitors. We speak to people, and we do the bank transactions in Thailand every day. No. So not to my knowledge, at least the major bank, it could be possible, maybe it's coming from the smaller banks, the challenger banks who want to compete with the top 5 largest bank in Thailand, but the top 5, the big guns, no, in fact, I think they're actually increasing the at least ATM fees, like one of the major banks here in Thailand started, I believe 2 years ago, their withdrawal fee was 160 baht, which is like $5. Now it's 220 baht. So yeah, that's so it is growing. So and that's actually a good use case, because when let's say a tourist or traveler comes into Thailand, let's say from the UK, so and puts the money at the card into the ATM, so basically he's facing 220 baht withdrawal fee. Has effects non-friendly FX rate imposed between those two banks, withdrawal fees from his issuing bank and withdrawal, and like I said, this 220 baht withdrawal from the local bank. So overall, if the user deals with the deliverable currencies such as British pound, US dollar, euro, we're looking at from 5 to 7% fee, cost to take the money out. If we're talking about non-deliverable currencies, which is, let's say, Indian rupees, Russian ruble, etc., then we're looking at the vicinity of 9%, from 7 to 9%. That's where Everex want to come in and really help people not only save the fees on that, but also have more usability. Because even if you withdraw, even if you're okay with taking money out of ATM, you still carry a lot of cash. It's not really, it doesn't create your, there's no spending history. If you spend this money with the merchants, we also don't know how much money they make. So that's all what Everex is all about, is to put the financial data on the blockchain and let the analytics put the credit scoring, analyze this data, and offer lines of credit to the small and medium-sized merchants and businesses who may not have access to this before. And that would really provide the economical growth for the local communities. And it's not only in Thailand, we're looking at everywhere. We look at Cambodia, Laos, all those street merchants. So they actually, there was a saying, there was a research done a few years ago where, I think I mentioned that in my previous AMA, where if all countries that are based on cash economy work together, it would form the second largest economy in the world, with trillions of dollars of GDP. But those transactions are all untraceable. So we want to simplify that and put it into the blockchain. In this way, we can analyze this data. And even this fruit merchant who sells the fruits on the street of the Bangkok, if at least a part of his sales would be using our wallet or our white label branded wallet with our financial partners, that would create the financial data on the blockchain and will help him to get a credit. And I'm sure there will be lenders who will say, oh, you just made, last week you made X thousand revenue. And we see that you do it every week, you your business is growing, would you like to have add a second stand? And that's your credit line. So that's what we believe will help people to lift out from their existing economic situation.
I see. Sorry about that. I had some kids walking by and like
I didn't see that.
right by my patio, so it was like a little distracting, like running.
No worries.
So, but that's cool to hear. Let's see. It's good that the focus is still on lowering fees for people, and especially for the regular consumer, because prices keep going up on everything, and that's one of the main reasons I'm involved with this whole thing in crypto. Is because I really think that's important that these fees go back into people's pockets instead of being siphoned.
Well, that's one of the things like we always asked about, like our partners who is in traditional remittance business, and they want to like use our technology, and of course it's always the cost of on ramp and off ramp, especially off ramp, because off ramp means cashing out. And that's what I said, look, we don't really into the remittance business. Remittance is great, yeah, it helps people to basically survive and then get the cash from their relatives who work all overseas, but it doesn't create history. It doesn't help them to get access to capital, and it's not it has nothing to do with the financial inclusion. So we don't want them to cash out. It's not only because it's costly, but also it's just not helping them. And so if this merchant can use the wallet, which is just free app, you download it and you show the QR code, and anybody can send you money, and especially this is the Ethereum address you will see there. So anybody across the world can send you not the crypto, but the national currency, the money most people know and understand and trust. That would really help people. And that's what Everex is all about.
All right. On to the next question. Is there any effect to Everex because of the disruption occurring to the financial system of banks, like shutting down more branches of a bank? Any big changes recently?
Yeah, that's actually, it's a good sign. I mean, maybe bad for banks, but for the innovation, for new technologies, for challenger companies like ours and our friends from other companies, it is a good thing. So banks are restructuring, they cutting down costs, they thinking, they open to think maybe outside the box, they open to new technologies. So in fact, like we all know, crypto benefits in time of crisis. So if it's good or bad, I'm not one to say, but in general, any disruptions, anything that happens in the financial sector, usually good for innovations, usually good for new technologies, because if players in the space are looking for new partners, looking for new ideas, looking to cut their costs, and that's where all the blockchain developing companies who work in the financial space, in the fintech, will be happy to work with them and provide a solution for them.
Okay. All right. So here's an interesting question, and I guess it should be asked, because in crypto, you can never be too sure of anything. But Everex will not be listed by Binance, right?
I don't know where this comes from. No comment.
CPR just got delisted from Binance. So some
who? What?
Centra,
who?
Centra, Centra, the token that Floyd Mayweather, the boxer.
Ah, well, that's basically the answer in this. Yes, I mean, I think I caught some glimpse of this investigation in the U.S. Yeah, I guess Binance just plays it safe, but no, nothing that I heard of. And again, we run a transparent campaign and everything. We have a great relationship with Binance, so not that I heard of.
Yeah, I've seen you. You did part of the Tokyo Roadshow with them.
I met CZ in Tokyo there. Yes, and their success is phenomenal. I mean, my hat off to those guys. Make #1 exchange in less than a year. It's like what, 6 months or 8 months? They started June last year. Phenomenal.
Yeah, they changed 3 countries too.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
They're very
Yeah.
dynamic. They went from China to Japan, or maybe Japan to now into Malta. They seem to be promoting Malta pretty heavily.
Right. Yeah, I heard something. Yeah. Well, wish them all the best. We need them. We all need them.
Yeah, they've been amazing. So don't think I've seen it. And I saw, I think one of the other founders over at the Blockchain Connect. So they're trucking, and plus they've always been good with communication. So that's one thing I really like about them.
Right. Yeah, we're also friends with Huobi, who really doing a great job, and I think Huobi is a great contender to the Binance. They're expanding the countries. Hopefully, if I have time next time in Singapore, I'll go to their office. They invited me to do the podcast. Just need to find the time. Great relationship with them. We try to help them as much as we can. And that's where, in fact, speaking of which, one of the applications of the e-fiat, we believe when the fiat is launched, one of the use cases is actually being able to use your national currencies for deposits and withdrawals from pretty much any cryptocurrency exchange that accepts it. And we believe that would help the users, especially new users, new people who just heard of, they want to invest, they want to put some little money into the cryptocurrencies, but they simply cannot do it because most of the cryptocurrency exchanges are crypto only. They can talk to banks. And that's where our translation service agent may be able to help.
Yeah, speaking of Huobi, I think they just mentioned that they're opening up in Korea.
Right. Yeah, they very aggressively expanding, and I can't be more and more happy seeing they're going to.
They opened that. Part of one of the benefits that I saw was that EVX will be purchasable by the Korean won. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, Korea is also in our map because there is a huge transaction flow between Korea and Thailand. Even this one market, but I know there is more. Korea is one of the leading economies. So once we grease our rails with the Chinese corridor, we'll look at the Korea and see how we can work with their local providers on the transfers.
Yeah, because I remember working with Huobi when they were doing their promotion when they listed the EVX token. So it seems like that is a good partnership.
Very good. Yeah, great people. Yeah, if I am in Singapore, we usually have a meeting there.
All right. Right. Let's see. So moving on to the last question now.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Not too many, but.
Let's keep it short. It's better do it more often.
Yeah.
But sure, so we don't really get the viewers tired. Yeah, shoot up.
Can you tell us anything about the discussions with central banks? What solutions are you proposing, and what's the status of these proposals?
Right. Well, I mentioned that briefly before during this interview. Like I said, I can only repeat myself that there was a number of banks, around 5, that's actually approached us into exploring of this technology, or for exploring the blockchain technology for their national currencies. And the central banks that we are in talk with, those are relatively small countries, small markets, and usually they have nothing. By saying having nothing, there's no national payment system. So in order to make the interbanking transaction from one bank to another, you actually have to go to the branch of your bank, withdraw the cash, then cross the street to another branch and make a deposit. That's how interbank transactions work in those countries. Obviously, and now because we have this great cost-efficient technology based on the blockchain, and what Everex is doing is obviously, it's benefiting. It will benefit this, projects like that. So we are forming the focus groups. We are doing the proposals, because we also need to analyze it. It's not like we can offer them turnkey solution. Oh, just install this app and your whole country be on blockchain. it takes a lot of work on the legal, on the business, even on the marketing space. Plus, because we also need to work with existing banks in these countries, in the software that they have, their existing core banking systems here and there. So it's a pretty big process. So, but I believe that there is no other way for them to find any alternative, any more cost-efficient, fast deployment, at least on the pilot stages, technology other than the blockchain-based one. So I'm looking very positive. I believe within this year we will see some advances on that front.
Okay, and one of the last ones has to do with the recent victory that you guys got, or because of the acceptance in the Frankfurt Accelerator.
Right,
What
right.
takeaways from the Frankfurt Accelerator that's going to be positive for Everex, and what do you expect from the program itself?
Networking mostly, yes. Frankfurt is in the center of Europe now. It's becoming, it's taking or competing with the London for the financial capital of Europe. And Germany is one of the most innovative countries in terms of banking and the technologies. So we already being connected with a number of banks and the financial service providers in order to form the partnership. Because again, of course, the European Union is a large market for us. So we really need to be present there. And the way it's going, hopefully we will have the solid partner for us, and that would open pretty much all the European corridor, all the European countries that we will connect to Asia and China.
Okay, all right, and that kind of wraps it up.
Sounds good.
So thanks for joining us and taking the time to do this. Because
thank you, Dana. Yes, let's do it more often, and please submit new questions for the next one when the time comes, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, so let us know what you guys think about this format in the comment section below. Share it through Twitter, use the social media, smash the like button, and engage with the team. Let us know what's on the mind and what's on your mind, and what we can do to possibly be better, because they take them, jot them down in notes, and then we can address them once in every month. So I'm Dano from the Telegram chat, and I'll talk to you guys from there. So thanks.
Thank you guys. Okay, bye-bye.